What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here with your second stimulus check update. Nancy Pelosi, the House Speaker and leader of the Democrats, says that we basically have an agreement. I'm going to give you the details on that. And student loan forgiveness. I've been getting a lot of questions from you guys about student loan forgiveness, and I'm going to cover that briefly in this video because if you or anybody you know has student loan forgiveness, this will be very valuable information. But first, if you can, give this video a like down below. It really helps out our channel. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe down below. It's completely free to do so. This way you won't miss out on second stimulus check updates, election updates, and related information. I'll tell you, I'm exhausted. We went to a park today here in Ohio. It's beautiful. It's like 77 degrees. And Julian, our 2-year-old, is just a handful. He just unlimited energy, running like crazy, never stops. It's just, I'm exhausted just thinking about it again. He's actually outside right now again with my wife Laura, and I told him to enjoy it now while you can because winter is coming. Yeah, if you know what I mean. Hopefully, we don't have White Walkers come and get us before 2020 is over. That's a little Game of Thrones reference there for you. Okay, first up, I want to cover one provision of the student loan forgiveness. That is, you can see here, if you read the revised HEROES Act, that's the bill that Nancy Pelosi has drafted that they're basically going off of and they're making tweaks to, the $2.2 trillion stimulus package that the House of Representatives passed. You'll notice on page 1665, you did notice that on that page, right? That the bill refers to a, quote, private education loan rather than a federal student loan with respect to student loan forgiveness. Here's what is inside of the current HEROES Act. Student loan forgiveness. The Secretary of the Treasury, that's Stephen Mnuchin, shall pay up to $10,000 of private student loans for each borrower. So $10,000 to each person for student loan forgiveness in this revised HEROES Act. First of all, that is amazing news. If you or anybody you know has student loans, they could get $10,000 forgiven to them by this next stimulus package. Now, this was in the bill that the Democrats already passed and the Senate ignored it, okay? So basically, they're working on revising that bill right now, and that's where the compromise and the negotiations come from. There's lots of things in this bill, like student loan forgiveness, there's mortgage and rental assistance, there's stimulus checks, there's an unemployment extension update. In this video, we're going to cover a little bit of the student loan forgiveness. Obviously, I can't cover every detail of these packages in every video. So we're going to focus here just on a minute for the student loan forgiveness, and then we're going to talk about Nancy Pelosi, what she's saying about the agreement of this bill. But very good news in this bill is if you or anybody you know has student loans, you can get $10,000 forgiven from this stimulus package, which is a lot more than just your $1,200 stimulus check. And that's why I've been saying all along that the stimulus package is much better than the skinny bills and even the presidential executive order. I mean, those would be great, but the large stimulus package has everything in the kitchen sink in there, including up to $10,000 of student loan forgiveness. Also in this bill is no interest. Student loan interest will not be capitalized on private student loans until February 1st of 2021. And this only applies to student loan borrowers who are, quote, economically distressed. Now, the truth is we don't really know the details of what will be economically distressed. We don't know who will get it. We don't know if everybody with student loans will qualify for it. We don't know if it will be for private student loans or for federal student loans. Honestly, the federal student loans are they're both kind of easy because money just solves the problem. The federal student loans is actually, they don't even need money. They just forgive the loan because it's already on the federal books. They just forgive it. They don't even really technically need money. They just forgive the debt. Okay. The private student loans, if you have private student loans, they have to pay for it with stimulus money. So they do have to actually have money from the bill to pay for it. Either one of those could happen. I will be updating you guys further as we get more information, along with student loans and all the other things like mortgage and rental assistance, unemployment, and all the details in this package as we get more details. Okay, next up, Nancy Pelosi just gave a recent interview. It's not the one pictured here. I showed you guys this interview earlier, but basically, she had a mask on the whole time, and it's a garbled mess. Literally, every time I found the interview, it's barely even understandable. So I'm not going to play the interview here for you. But basically, what she's saying is, quote, that they are just about there on the stimulus agreement or the stimulus negotiations. So basically, it again, this is politics talk. But if you're reading into what Nancy Pelosi is saying, her most recent statements is she's basically saying that they have an agreement between her and the White House, Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin, and through that, President Donald Trump. So it'll be interesting to see what happens now. They have legislators, both from the Democrats and the Republicans, right now working on the actual bill. Remember, as you've seen, that student loan forgiveness provision was on page 1665. So these bills are enormously long. They're ridiculously long. I mean, how you need something that long is ridiculous, and how you could read through all that and actually understand everything is like near impossible. I think I've done a pretty decent job explaining these things to you in bits and pieces throughout my different videos, but they're working on the language right now. But the most important thing is that Nancy Pelosi is basically saying that they have an agreement or that they're right at an agreement. This is the first time Nancy Pelosi has said this. Even if we go back a week ago, she was like, "Wow, we're we're far away from an agreement." She's basically saying they need to come to my number. Now she's saying that they're extremely close and they kind of barely almost have an agreement. So we're probably going to have a lot of news coming out about that in the next 24 hours or so as we go into the presidential debate, which is tonight, and they try to push this stimulus package through before the election. I think they're going to try to push this through before the election because Nancy Pelosi, who's up for reelection, and President Donald Trump, who's up for reelection, they both know that if they don't pass this before the election, they're going to be in hot water. There's a lot of people mad that there has not been more stimulus passed for this long, and we should have been on our third or fourth stimulus check and unemployment extension update, and a lot more should have been done. In fact, the Fed recently said that out of all the large nations in the world that are passing stimulus, which is like all of them, because everybody's dealing with this virus, it's not just a US thing, is that the average amount of stimulus that the other countries have spent and have already put out is about 30% of their GDP, or 30% of what their economy is worth. The US has only spent half of that, about 15%. So we could honestly pass this stimulus and still be behind what other countries are spending. So we really don't have to worry about inflation or anything like that. In fact, the Fed has stated that inflation is near a historic low right at this moment. And yes, we do have to pass trillions of dollars more in stimulus, but we're passing less than all the other major countries in the world. So in relation to the other countries, it's not like we're spending mass amounts more and our dollar is going to be devalued a lot more than the other countries. And President Donald Trump himself says this isn't personally debt. This isn't money that we owe to somebody. It's not money that has interest on it. It's just money that goes into America and to the Americans and basically goes into our economy. And what he says is that comes back around to everybody, anyways. For example, they give you stimulus checks, you go and spend it on your rent, which is a landlord or a company. The company then pays their employees, they pay their electric bill, they pay their rent bill, or you go buy food, which goes to a grocery store, which the grocery store then pays their employees. The employees get paid, they bring people back to work, and so on and so forth. This money isn't owed to anybody. It's considered debt, but it's not really debt. It depends on who you talk to, what type of economist you talk to who really understands what's going on. Because some people say, well, yeah, it's debt, but it's debt that we don't owe to anybody. And it doesn't need to be repaid back. So in the definition of debt says, well, you have to pay it back, and we don't have to pay this back. It's stimulus, it's not debt. These Senate Republicans, of course, are unhappy that Steve Mnuchin has basically given some extra provisions to Nancy Pelosi to get this deal done. Nancy Pelosi has been giving a little bit, but the Republicans have definitely been giving more to push this deal done before the election. And of course, Senate Republicans aren't happy. However, we have seen several different senators in the last week or so come out and say that they do need to actually pass stimulus. They know that it's more money than they want to spend, but it's the lesser of two evils. Yeah, I know. I know. In their eyes, passing a large stimulus package is the lesser of two evils than not passing anything. Yeah, just let that sink in for a second. This is how politicians think. And honestly, it doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat because they've both voted no against the other bills. And if they would have just agreed on stuff, we could have had multiple different more stimulus packages passed. We have had four of them passed, four and a half passed already. And we just need a lot more because we're still in the thick of this. And honestly, as you can see on this graph, our virus cases are on an upward trend and nearing an all-time high. On October 16th, we broke over 70,000 new cases on that day, and yesterday was 62,700 new cases per day. That's near an all-time high, and you can see the trend is increasing as the days go by. When we go to deaths here, they're also staying level but somewhat going up. Yesterday we had over 1,170 people that fell to this virus, and that is a high of over a month. We have to go back over a month ago before we had over 1,000 people die from this virus. So we are seeing both that and new cases. Obviously, there's a lot more new cases. They are getting a little bit more efficient at preventing people from, succumbing to this virus completely, but it's still of major concern. And honestly, the longer this goes on, the more and more stimulus we're going to need. And those are basically the exact words of what the Fed has been saying almost every couple of days. They're urging that we need more stimulus now, or we're going to go back into a recession or even a depression. And we need more stimulus now because this virus is not going away, of course, unless you think it's going to go away on November 3rd, like my brother thinks. I'm telling you, man, if it goes away somehow magically after the election, I don't know. I'm going to have to do something crazy. I'm going to have to, I don't even know. You can tell me what I'll have to do if somehow the virus just completely declines after the election and is gone. Let me know what you think I should do if that happens. It will be crazy. Also, we're going to have our next What's in the Box contest here very soon, maybe within the next day or two. I got to come up with the questions or the clues, but it's going to be a very interesting item this time. That's actually a pre-clue for you for watching to the end. Always watch to the end. If you don't watch to the end, you miss out on a lot of important details. A lot of people watch first couple minutes and then they miss out, and then they're asking questions in the comments, and I'm like, well, obviously you didn't watch the video because you missed out on all the good information. So thanks for sticking to the end. I love you guys. Share this video on Facebook if you can for me. It really helps people stay in the know to know what is going on with this stimulus check situation and the election coming out. Later this evening, I will have an election special, a debate special from the debate tonight with my wife on. We're going to show you guys the important highlights and give you some commentary with me and my wife. Thanks, guys, for watching. And you can click on this top video to watch my newest stimulus check video next. And you can click on this video to watch a video about how to start a business selling products on Amazon FBA. I have students that have replaced their entire 9-to-5 income by selling products on Amazon, and I teach them how. Thanks for watching, guys. I will see you in the next video.